And now we're going technique with Jason Goodman.
Hello, Hervé.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Me too. So you work for more 20 years as a stereographer on production, and you build specialized optics and rigs for different types of cameras. You've been involved on X-Men, the last X-Men, the Amazing Spider-Man, and the Metallica Through the Never movie.
Well, last year we spoke about the whole revolution that occurred post-Avatar. And there was obviously an evolution to this revolution. And I just wanted to show a little bit of that. We've been designing cameras and camera systems and, as Hervé said, optics and various things for a long, long time. And this was because at the time that I began, there were no tools. And obviously, you've got to have the proper tools to shoot in 3D. And that's not to say that you go get a particular camera, you go hire a particular company, and you're going to have a successful result. Everything that Gallian and everybody else has been talking about is absolutely true. We've got to be thinking about these things in advance of production. And probably the most important thing, which Josephine was touching on, is that the director has got to be on board with the 3D process and the cinematographer. But the director is really the most important person. And I personally have come to really dislike this separation of the stereographer from the cinematographer. I think that's a very bad thing to do. Unfortunately, it has to happen a lot, and particularly on the larger films that I've been involved with, it's a necessity. But it almost creates this rivalry, this fight of, well, the 2D cinematographer wants to do things his traditional way, and we'll give you this opportunity to stick in 3D here and there. I'm just kind of scrolling through some of the images of various tools that we've created over the years, and as they've evolved, they've had more and more capability.
Okay. So for producers, everybody knows 3D means two cameras, but it doesn't mean double teams or equipment.
Well, there are certain things, obviously, that are doubled when we're doing 3D. Two cameras and certain additional equipment that's needed to combine the images so they can be properly evaluated on set. But we're certainly not doubling the teams. I like to think that there doesn't need to be anyone additional on set, as long as we have a director and a cinematographer who understand what they want from 3D and how to achieve it. That's part of the problem that we've faced in live-action 3D on larger Hollywood productions, is that the producers have seen teams of people who aren't present during 2D films, and that equals more money, more food, more hotel rooms, more day rates. That's no good. Nobody likes that. We don't want that. Want to keep the crew as small as possible. You had asked me, Hervé, before the discussion about different camera systems that can be utilized, and we've seen throughout the evolution a lot of different cameras. It's not about being locked into a particular type of equipment or a particular way of shooting. We've got Arri Alexa M here. This was during the prep for Metallica Through the Never. We've got Red, and we've just recently completed a project with the Red Dragon, which is an amazing piece of technology. Any type of camera system can be used. My goal throughout my career has been to eliminate the perceived limitations for directors and cinematographers and let people know that 3D is not this cumbersome beast. It should be easy, and all the things that Gallienne were saying are critically important to making that happen.
And could you explain how you work with the DOP during shooting?
Sure. As I said before, there tends to be this stereographer versus DOP situation where it's kind of a fight. And I've found that there are a lot of directors of photography who fear 3D, and it's something new. They don't want someone else on set telling them what to do with the camera. They have a way of working, and they have a comfort zone that they're in, that when you try to pull them out of it, the result is not good. Now, of course, there are many exceptions to that rule. We've worked with Haskell Wexler just casually, never on an actual film, but Haskell was very, very interested in 3D. This was an early camera system there. We see him looking through. And I had a wonderful experience with Peter Collister on Amazing Spider-Man. We see Peter here behind the camera. But it's difficult to find a cinematographer who's truly open to the concept of making the film sing in 3D.
Okay. And today, would you say you can do all the same camera movements in 3D like in 2D, as in 2D?
Well, I'd be lying if I said that a 3D camera was not slightly more cumbersome than a 2D camera. But, I was thinking about that question when I was preparing this PowerPoint, and I had some slides that I meant to bring. I have a lot of friends who are Steadicam operators that have been posting things on Facebook, and Facebook and social media are really great because you get to see what other people are doing. Some of the 2D builds that I've seen lately have been absolutely crazy. Long lenses, Sony f55 builds that are 2 feet long, definitely more cumbersome than 3D. I find it very important to keep the 3D camera moving. This is sort of a guerrilla production that we did. It was a bit of a test in the subway in New York City. You might have seen this online, but this was just to demonstrate how easy it is to move the camera. We literally left the office of 21st Century 3D in New York, went down into the New York City subway. We did not lock up the subway. We did not have any PAs. We did not have any permits. We just walked down the stairs with a 3D camera, and we created this short little sample.
Wow, it's amazing.
Thank you, of moving the camera around. And the key is the camera is untethered. The camera is very light. It goes onto a Steadicam very easily. And frankly, this is an old camera. This test is over a year old. This was shot with a BX4. The photograph you saw of Neil Bryant standing in the water was with a BX5. That was just taken last week, and Neil was in low mode there with carbon fiber Epic Dragons in our lightest configuration for a cinema beam splitter to date. We see here we had a need to photograph the Fountain of Dubai, so we were hard mounting the Steadicam on a Garfield mount on a boat, and there's Neil operating as we did that. So that was really interesting, and we could see him here just running around in the middle of the desert with the Steadicam.
Yeah.
Probably the newest thing I have on here is we were doing some stuff with the GoPro 3 Plus, and that was inside the world's largest aquarium at the Atlantis in the Palm in Dubai.
Okay, thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you.